Hello and welcome to this week's Maker Meeting from Workshop 88. Each week we explore projects that our members are working on. We are members of a community makerspace primarily serving the Western Chicago suburbs. We're always striving to build and grow our community of makers. We believe that we become better makers by learning with and sharing with others. We hope you enjoy watching our meeting and we invite you to become involved with us no matter where you live. And just a final plug for the January special for new members in the Chicago area. Please consider checking out Workshop 88 and come join us. We have 4 months of membership for the price of 3, and would really love to support you in your making whatever you're looking to make with us at the Makerspace in Glen Ellyn. And for those of you not near us, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Tonight we're gonna start things off. Gail Jo has a game that she's gonna share with us and show us some cool stuff with. So I'm looking forward to that. So Gail, I'm gonna turn it right over to you.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I'm gonna share my screen, hopefully. Right, and go full screen. All right, so the name of the game is Stardew Valley, and it was made by one person, one single developer, Eric Baroni. He did everything for it. The designer, artist, composer, musician. I mean, and I say that so that when you hear the music or you see things, you think about it all being one person, not a team. It's kind of amazing. It was originally released February 26, 2016 and started for the PC. So sometimes using a controller, a pro controller is a little awkward. I feel like would have been better with a mouse, but you learn. And it's programmed in C#, and he was a fan of Harvest Moon. I didn't really know Harvest Moon, but that's kind of the game that you could say it's based off of. And because I was playing Animal Crossing, and I still am so much, that it was hard not to compare it to Animal Crossing because it's a role-playing game and you get your own setup and everything. So that's how I'll start out. So there was a lot that was similar with the daily tasks of things you have to do, hitting rocks, chopping trees. There are seasons and recipes. So you're still a maker, you get to make stuff, and you have to get the items that you need to be able to make stuff. And you can start out small, have to clear the land, get a bigger house, have your workbench. And the other reason I got this game is because multiple players, you can have more than one person play that's across the internet with a Nintendo subscription. But they have villagers, and you give your villagers gifts and you get to know them and you make personal relationships, which is a fun, fake thing to do during the pandemic. Keeps you going, having something to do every day. And they have special events, and the other similarity is they have a museum that you have to donate things to, things that you find, artifacts and stuff. So the biggest differences to me are the graphics between the two and how time works. Smaller differences are Stardew Valley has a train and mines with battling and beer and wine and human villagers instead of everybody being an animal, a cutesy animal. And you can start a family in Stardew Crossing. You can get married and start a family, which is very different than Animal Crossing. So the graphics on Nintendo are very detailed and intense, and on Stardew it's pixel art, and is the kind of thing that you think, you know, how can you go from one to the other? But you still have tasks to do, and you adjust, I guess. The other difference is time. I spent New Year's on the island in Animal Crossing and celebrated New Year's Eve because it's all real time. And they have celebrations based on holidays and things. So it brings people back to the game that have already, you know, done everything they could. And in Stardew Valley, one day is 15 minutes. It's a lot of pressure to get everything done in one day. But it's 15 minutes for a day cycle of the clock. And there's 28 days per season. That shouldn't say per month. It should be 28 days per season. And there's 4 seasons. And then after you go through the 4 seasons, then you're into year 2. So that just increments the years. So the dial shows like the 4 seasons. Can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay. So that's, you start in the spring and then you go through summer and a fall, and you can still plant in the winter certain things and stuff. And you have to get money, but you have to be in bed by 2 a.m. in Stardew Valley, or else you pass out. Somebody finds you and then they tell you what somebody else stole from you while you were passed out. So it's a little bit stressful for that, but that's the thing that makes it very different. It's a different mindset.
Is the year number different for everybody then?
Right. So when you start playing, you're in year 1. When you go through all 4 seasons, you're in year 2. So you can take, 15 minutes times 28 days. I mean, it takes you so long to get through it. So, but you can play it for any amount of years that you're willing to keep playing it. So some people may be in year 10 or whatever. So, it just depends on when you get bored. My favorite thing about it is you can ride a horse to go 30% faster. You have to provide all the materials you need to be able to build the stable, and then the horse comes with the stable. So, and this is a picture of nighttime. And if you notice in the bottom, there's a toolbar, and the one with the red highlight around it is the torch. So I just recently figured out that if the last thing you highlight or sort of have in your pockets or toolbar is a torch, then this spotlight follows you all the way home, which could be helpful in the dark. So that's what I like about that. They have money. You have to get money. In Stardew Valley, it's gold. In Animal Crossing, it was bells. And in Animal Crossing, you would take out a loan to be able to build additions to your house and stuff. But here, you just have to earn enough money to be able to do things or sell your vegetables that you're farming, or sell different things to earn money or to earn gold. But you don't have to manage it. You can't separate it, or, I mean, there is a way to work with multiplayer, and getting gold is a thing that I exploited. I found a YouTube video on how to get a bunch of money, and I did it, and it works. So then I didn't have to worry about much. So it's all, leveling up the different items of farming, mining, foraging, fishing, and combat. And I don't like to go in deep into the mines and fight that much. I'm only up to level 35, floor level 35 of the mines, and it goes over 200, I think. So, but right now I think I'm on level 3 of combat. But that's just an example, and I'll bring that one up again so you can relate it to the game. So I'm going to start a video soon, but this is just right now where I'm at with the farming, planting things in the fall. And then I have these not treasure chests, but they're chests, and that's where you can store your items. And I have a pig that left truffles, and then you get these machines where you milk the cows and you make cheese, and it's just a ton of stuff. I mean, I thought Animal Crossing was a lot, and this is just so much more. And they have events and stuff. Now I'm gonna share the video now. And then I'll get back to the slide. This is their intro. And co-op is if you're playing with somebody else. So you have to love all your animals. Go up to them, hit A. And this is a deluxe barn. And so the hay is already all set up. I just milked, or Dale, sorry, my character Dale, just milked the cow. And then he can milk the goats. And then there's chickens, but the chicken looks grumpy. But the cow is loved. So if you don't get a heart, then something's wrong. Oh, they don't have any food. And then if I upgrade my chicken coop, there's an automatic feeder, so I don't have to do that each time. Don't like to go anywhere without the horse. And the music is sort of calming after a while. So And it changes with the seasons and stuff too. You have a doctor and a general store. Fishing is hard. I haven't quite figured it out. I'm only showing you one where it works, so it'll look easy, but it was hard to stay steady, to keep the fish in the bar. So we're down in the mines. Up in the top left says 23, so we're in the 23rd level of the mines. And you start out with lame tools or rusty sword, and then the more you do it, then you can go upgrade them and stuff. And you find different things. Then you have to be prepared. And keep your eye on your energy level and your health level bars on the right. So that's back to showing the levels again. It might be the same thing. So you have to do stuff to be able to get better tools. You just have to keep going down there. And then there's it's called Pelican Town. I get to name my farm. My farm name is Crappie, but the town is Pelican Town. And there's a community center. So this is a whole separate acquisition. It's a rundown place that you have to one by one get, find things and provide things so that you can level up or clean up the place, the room. So you provide what you need, and then these little, I forgot what they're called, they fix it all up, and then now it's the craft room. So this is a different room. This is the pantry. So you have to grow stuff and provide everything that they're asking for. This one needed, quality crops are 5-star. They have the gold star, not 5-star. They have to have the gold star, and you had to have 5 of them. And this one was just blueberry. So at the bottom, it said the reward is a greenhouse. So there was a dilapidated greenhouse on the farm, but in order to get it fixed up, you had to do that, finish that thing, and then go to sleep every night before 2 a.m. And now those same guys are fixing up the greenhouse on my farm, on Dale's farm. And then that's just a picture of the greenhouse after it's all done. So this is the extra fun stuff, I thought. Going into the saloon. Saloon has an arcade. So you play a video game in the video game. The bus, you grow hops, you brew your own beer, pale ale, and then you give it to the bus driver. Thought that was a little funny.
I love that.
It was, so there's a bunch of villagers, and you can look up what they like or what they love, so you can become a better friend. And then Pam wanted a pale ale. They send you out requests in the mail, so then you have to satisfy the requests whenever you get to that stuff. So I thought it was weird to give a bus driver on duty some beer, but it gets darker. So the darker side of it, there's a character I thought he was depressed, but it turns out he's depressed and an alcoholic, according to Wikipedia.
Wow.
And this is a cut scene. So you do certain things, and then like the game takes over, takes control, and does this stuff, has you interact with a villager or a character.
Can you send the character to therapy?
Haven't found that kind of doctor yet. Although if you befriend him, he gets better or feels better or something.
Honestly, this is amazing. One person did this entire game, music and the content.
I mean, it took him years, but still. Okay, so this is what they call the homeless person.
It looks like me.
But this one, you got to listen to the audio when they go in the tents. So this is another cutscene. I wasn't controlling anything here. It's not that dark. He was just teaching Dale how to make quality fish bait and a recipe. So you still need recipes to make stuff. So if you never know when it's going to come up, you just achieve certain things. Oh, this was hard. I didn't have a good sword or enough food. I didn't get my food fast enough. But I didn't die. But Dale doesn't die. You don't die in the game, which is good. And you don't in Animal Crossing either. Okay. I have more, but that's enough. So.
Honestly, that was amazing. I mean, I was a professional for many years, and to have that level of quality and depth, that's remarkable. What was the guy's name again?
Eric Barone or Baroni. And I mean, that's the thing is you can Google him pretty much. I mean, I did have a link on one of the slides, but I'm gonna share, go back to the PowerPoint thing.
Where can you find that game?
Well, it is available for Xbox and PlayStation and the PC.
All right.
So the thing is how to play. I mean, when the kids were small and they had cheat codes for all their Nintendo games, and I didn't really understand how that worked or whatever. But you had a wiki that tells you everything you need to know. And I forgot to use the word spoiler when I started this. They use this word spoiler all the time. Oh, this is a spoiler. So you play the game and you like try to figure everything out, or you look up all the secrets or just some of the secrets, or, like the simple example of looking up what the villager likes and you get them what they like, and then you increase the friendship level, And the exploit of how to make more of something was you plant one thing and let it grow, like go to bed right away and make it the next day so that it grows. And then when you have it, you build 2 chests that I showed you that hold maybe 36 things or something. I don't know how many. And so you fill one chest up, and then you have the one item in the other chest, and you grab it, and then you click on something else, and it just produces them constantly. And then you bring them over to the supply bin, and then you get money overnight. And once I saw the video, I'm like, well, I want to try it. I want to see if it's a bug that it didn't fix or what. And it made money. So I have 1 point something million gold, because whenever I need money, I go do it. And then when I go to the carpenter, Robin's the carpenter that builds me the barns and stuff, I can buy wood from her. So I don't have to go forage for it all the time. And then when I go to the blacksmith, when I have geodes that they crack open and find things, I can buy iron ore or gold ore from here, because that's how you upgrade your tools and stuff. So once you have money, you can still do a lot, but it's not going to make you automatically go to all the levels. But it still makes it convenient, less stressful, and doesn't take as much time. So that's the philosophical question, you know, when are you like not really playing the game because you're like cheating, but if you cheat codes with something that was there and then all the information in Wikipedia, you know, and is that, I mean, I don't think I've known the word exploit as related to the game until this.
Do you play with other players? Is this multiplayer online?
It's multiplayer, but it's, so my sister picked this one out because I picked Animal Crossing. So she picked the one and I was trying to wait for one that had multiplayer. So when she comes over, she created a new character from scratch. And then when I go over there, I had to create a new character from scratch. So it's not the same, like in Animal Crossing, she brings everything with her, sell stuff at my store, and we can exchange, you know, interact the same stuff. But here it's separated. So we have to have set up our stable and our horses on both islands so we can ride horses together, you know. So it's called the farmhand is the second player. And they have to have the game and it's across the internet.
I wonder, since this is a single developer, if we reached out to him, maybe we could, since you like the game so much, maybe we should just try seeing if we can get him to, you know, join us in next week's meeting. And
yeah, well, I'm not the only gamer, and I would think that he would, all of his Twitter followers and everything else that he's on social media, he has people that, you know,
He's the new knock, huh?
is already established.
don't shoot, won't score, you know, I mean,
And I'm not the first person to like the game.
yeah, I mean, we could, you know, post a video, shoot him a link, and if he wants to show up, he can, you know. If
As
not,
He's always welcome, that's for sure.
yeah, I mean, I mean, it sounds like he's got your interest perked a little bit, Scott. I mean, just since back in the day, you were this awesome game programmer.
Well, I did what I could, but I mean, honestly, to have the game that just the parts of the game that Gail Joe presented today, the music, the art, the content, and the gameplay, that's huge. That's a tremendous amount of effort, and to be as engaging as it is, that there's a, you know, he's really done well.
He's put a lot of time into it. He didn't have to go to meetings to consult with anybody. When he had an idea, he, you know, went with it.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is meetings are the problem with
No. I was just referencing something we talked about before. I have meetings to make sure people get done.
Right.
He focused on it. He calls them, well, yeah, I didn't put the link to the other video because it was just somebody else and I don't want to do what that other person did, just saying a bunch of stuff that they got off of some other interview or something. So
Quite an accomplishment.
Look them up yourself. Yeah. And it had all the dates of when he started and how he first sold it, and then he ended up being self-published because he did it on Steam at first, and just didn't want it to be like, yeah, he wanted to have control, and he didn't release it until it was done in 2016. So he put years and years into it.
Wow.
I was really the comparison you made with Animal Crossing, and I guess Animal Crossing has had several versions before this New Horizon thing or whatever, but so I don't know what the timeline is, but how it's just interesting how many similarities there were. So that is interesting.
Well, and Harvest Moon, I don't know, but Harvest Moon was the one where he was like, I really liked the game, but then I was done. You know, he wanted more, he wanted other things. So that's why you can play however many years you want. And yeah, I mean, it was good. It was quite an accomplishment, but it was total, I mean, he worked really hard on it for a long time.
Very
So
cool.
when we jump from project to project, and you know, we have a lot that we didn't start. It takes a certain kind of person to get that all.
Is there anything that you and your sister are looking to get into next?
She did send me a link this morning.
All right.
And it said it was on Kickstarter though.
Oh, well, you know, some of those work out.
And she's gonna.
I got my fingers crossed for you too. I like these.
Well, yeah, it's yeah, it's coming to an end. I feel it. I mean, tax time is coming, and then, you know, once I get vaccinated, I'm gonna have to go to Florida. We're just talking about. So,
Is she an accountant or something?
no, It's tax time for me. I'm gonna have to do, no, she's still working.
Right.
I'm not, so I'm always ahead of her and that, you know. But I introduced it to her when she was talking about, when she was on vacation and was really bored and was wondering about retirement. I'm like, well, didn't you used to play Sega all the time? So got her back into it.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. Yeah, a
And
lot of cool.
yeah, like Scott said, it was just a portion. I didn't want to spoil too much, but it really just was a portion of what I tried to keep it down.
Yeah, Joe, have you heard of a guy named, I think it's James Veitch or Veach? He's a YouTuber. He's a comedian.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of YouTube like my 22-year-old does, but I, you know,
He's got like 12 videos on Stardew Valley where he's playing and he's commenting on it. It's kind of funny. I didn't appreciate them earlier, but now that I see you playing the game and I know what it's supposed to be, I'm going to go back. I'll probably think they're a little bit, I'll understand them more and appreciate them more.
yeah, when I first started playing Animal Crossing, I was listening to podcasts and, you know, watching the videos and so for the next month or whatever, the next thing I do, I would like to put together what I've seen other YouTubers do is put together my Animal Crossing funny moments clips. Just funny, glitchy things that happen, or not glitchy, but are just funny, just things you don't expect to come out of the villager's mouth. So, but it's funnier to people that play the game. You're right, Mace. That's the thing. You have to have a little background to get it.
Cool. Well, thank you. Awesome. So I guess that means Jim, you are up. What do you got for us tonight?
Oh,
You got to unmute when you do.
This is not fun. You know, we're not playing games. We're back to just, you know, boring old techie stuff. So, well, hi, my name is Jim, and I'm a pack rataholic. We'll revisit that in a little bit.
Hi, Jim. You're in a room of them, so we all have to say hi back.
Hi, Jim.
hello.
A virtual room.
So this is the story of a little LED light, and there are a few excuse me, interesting bits and tips, but we end up with divulging two dirty secrets. My wife complained that the light from the flashlight she propped up on her dressing table while plucking her eyebrows was obscured by her hands. And I suggested that, well, maybe the light should come from above, and then her hands wouldn't be in the way. And that didn't work out because we didn't have a sky hook to put the light on. And I thought, oh, maybe maybe I can make something kind of like this. And ooh, it's even got a light.
Brilliant.
There are similar devices that obviously I didn't know what it was going to be like at the time. You know, one of the classics is a throwy, just a CR2032 and an LED, and, you know, maybe put a magnet on it and throw it so it sticks to, you know, metallic ferromagnetic things. So I thought about this, but that's not
Silly question. Why didn't the LED burn out without a resistor on it?
on the 2032.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And that turned
Okay.
out that screwed me up. And this is okay. This is legitimate. What I did isn't. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Let's see if I can do this. So my screen sharing, is that coming out okay?
Yes.
So this is the thing in place, and my wife reports that it works well. So
Wait. We see thumbnails.
oh, really? Thank you.
It seemed okay when you asked.
So I've got a full screen. Oh, I don't know how to. This runs a screen slideshow that's full screen, and I don't know how to select that screen. Oh, that sucks.
You get to move it to your other screen, basically.
Oh, this is going to make it harder.
Or unshare your screen and select the other screen when you share.
Do you see this?
If this is the same thumbnails we've been looking at, then yes.
No, so I just popped up.
No, I don't think we see it.
Well, that's too bad. So I don't know how to show these pictures now.
Stop sharing and do it again. Take your time. Look at what the options are.
Oh, this will probably work. So if I can do a screen share with this.
This looks like what I think you intend. At 175%.
Almost got the corner. Well, so that was exciting. So we're seeing, you know, a reasonable size picture of the same thing now.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Thank you. That's good. So the thing works, but like all DIY stuff, it didn't start out full blown. It started out as a handful of parts. So I was originally thinking about a CR2032, but that's, I didn't like to have to go through primary cells. So I looked through the LiPo drawer and found an old, you know, little LiPo cell, and thought, okay, well, this ought to work. But there was a real problem because what am I going to do with this? This doesn't suggest, you know, I can't just have, you know, an LED and a battery, and I got to have some kind of housing. And I didn't know how to house this, and it doesn't suggest anything by itself. And I struggled for days with that, with what am I going to do with this? And finally, I found a bottle cap that was just exactly the right size to house the stuff. So this was pretty cool. And now, Tom, this is actually more like your question. Well, how come the LED doesn't burn out with this battery? And we'll talk about that a lot more, because that was a problem. That's a little poly cap. I left the LED on some leads because there was going to be some aiming issues. So it's just, you know, bend the LED a little bit to aim it. And I cut a force fit hole for a switch. And so this is kind of okay.
Who needs an Altoids tin, huh?
Yeah, that's a possibility, but you know, we didn't want too clunky. So the thing is going to mount on the mirror, and I had checked out, and sure enough, the frame of that mirror is magnetic, or steel. So I found a little magnet, and I cut a piece of, I don't know, 2 millimeter acrylic for that just fits in the bottle cap, and glued the magnet on it, and wanted to, you know, okay, let me check this out. And not wanting to scratch my wife's mirror, I may have some dirty secrets, but I'm not dumb. I put a piece of duct tape over the magnet, and, you know, and verified, and sure enough, it sticks, you know, just about right. So that was cool. And I thought, well, gee, you know, I could just put a piece of electrical tape over it. And this is still a little chintzy. I mean, this is the first prototype, but this was a little, I didn't like it. And but it occurred to me that if I could fill in this area, I don't know, the magnet stands maybe 2 millimeters per out of the plastic. If I could just fill this in with something so that I had a larger flat surface up against the mirror, that would be cool. And it occurred to me, oh, how about UV cure resin? Yeah, it's kind of thick and gloppy, and I could slobber it all in here and fill it up. And in fact, if I were clever and stuck it onto the mirror to cure, then I would have just the right thickness and maybe even, match the curve of the mirror a little bit. So as I was just about to put the goop on the little plastic thing around the magnet, I realized that it was just going to get on my fingers. And so, okay, well, hell, I'll make a little handle, a fine little piece of tape, and then I can hold that and hold it upside down and put the gloop on it, and and then stick it on the mirror. And I had the bottle of UV cured resin in my hand and realized, I'm going to have a hard time exposing the UV cure resin to the UV light through this opaque tape. So I managed to stop just in time. I made another, better handle for the process. And it was just enough to, let me put the stuff on and flopped it over. So, and if you look like right along here, this is packing tape. So I put a piece of packing tape over the mirror, so I didn't want to get resin on that. And and so I'm curing this, and that was cool. And if you look down here, there's one part that I didn't get full of resin. I took it off and put some more resin in and recured it. So that worked out pretty well. I ended up, the plastic, the cap is polyethylene, and epoxy doesn't stick very well to that, but hot melt does. So I hot melted the little plastic disc into the cap, and the resin, after it's cured, is a little bit sticky. You can wash the residue off with alcohol, which I did, but I still didn't want to mess up the mirror. And there was still metal.
Tim.
I'm sorry?
Tim, I thought you were going to show us something on your desk, but you're not, so you can show us your face on your camera. We're watching all your big shows, but we're also looking at your empty desk instead of your face for the camera portion. You want to flip your camera?
I'm sorry, I thought all these pictures were showing.
They are. Your pictures are showing fine. And your camera picture is also showing, but it's just your empty desk. So if you flip your camera back up to your face, then we can see your face.
If I am screen sharing, isn't the video stream for me my screen share?
And also your camera also appears on the side for me. So I can see your face while you're talking in a smaller square.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't understand how that worked.
I wanted to show your face.
Yeah, well, we can try to do that.
Okay, that's all.
Maybe I can see
Make for a better video, that's all.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, so I put a piece of packing tape over the whole thing to cover up the the sticky stuff, and to cover up the metal, because I didn't want it to scratch. So the whole thing, worked out okay. And let's see, what did I want to say? Oh, so this is pretty cool, and it worked, and it's bright enough. But then you might ask, gee, Jim, how did you happen to have a plastic bottle cap that was just exactly the right size to do that? Well, that's part of the dirty little secrets here. I have a personal problem with not being able to throw stuff away. And so I have bottle caps, because you never know. I mean, and they're really good. You can use them as templates for drawing circles and, building housings. And if you need a piece of plastic and, it's just, this is all junk, so you can cut it up and, it's all free stuff. So yeah, I have this little personal problem about not being able to throw stuff away. I think maybe some others, I think Pete had some problem, something about, oh, it's too nice to throw away. It would be a shame to throw this away. So that said,
I have no idea what you mean.
let's see if I can.
Well, I was surprised you didn't put a solar cell on that thing, Jim.
Well, not, but okay. So, and am I not sharing again? Okay, so I guess people have asked for this. So
Jim,
yeah.
just hi. Go on.
So yeah, I'm not too terribly embarrassed about the fact that I keep stuff, but this one I really am embarrassed about. This was really stupid. I had been misled by the CR 2032 thing. I thought, well, here it's a lithium battery, it's three volts, and they can get away with an LED. And so I did that with this LiPo battery. Well, that was a bad thing. It's really nearly a fatal design flaw, in this whole thing. It's closed up now and I can't measure the current. So I've started to worry a little more about it, but I have more of the LEDs. And so I did characterization of the LED, and these little 5mm LEDs are spec'd for 20 milliamps or something. So I got data up to, I don't know, 30 milliamps or something. And maybe I'll need some more. And I think I went up to 50 or 60. And man, when I was taking these data points, I'd connect it for just a little bit and disconnect it just as quick as I could, because Jesus, it's a 20 milliamp LED and I'm running it at 60. And I felt bad about that. The dotted line is an extrapolation, so I've never really done anything out of this. Well, it turns out, so I didn't do the math. And if I had done the math, it would turn out that for a LiPo cell, fully charged LiPo cell, is something like 4.2 volts. And with this LED looking for, I don't know, 40 milliamps or something, I need a 24 ohm resistor in series with that, or a total of 24 ohms of resistance, my resistor plus the internal resistance of the battery. Well, now we get down to worrying about the internal resistance of the battery. And I checked on a 2032. 2032 has an internal resistance of maybe 10 ohms, but it only puts out 3 volts, not 4 volts like a rechargeable lithium battery. And that difference is huge. If you look at if you take one of these LEDs, if you only got 3 volts to put across it, geez, you can't even hit 20 milliamps. And that's not even counting the internal resistance of the cell. So yeah, the throwy is a completely legitimate, you're completely within spec, but I'm not. So I got, okay, maybe it's down to 4 volts when it's fully running, but what's the internal resistance of the cell? And I had another one of the cells, and I did the same kind of stuff and checked out the internal resistance, did a bunch of measurements, never saw an internal resistance more than 1 ohm on that cell. Now I'm looking for 20 ohms. The internal resistance of that cell doesn't matter. So essentially, I had 4 volts across this, straight across the LED. This thing's running at 100 milliamps, and it's really bright. It's really good, but
Magic smoke time.
that's awful. It's just awful. And it was because I was combination of too lazy to do the math, and it's all my fault. I was misled by the 2032, and my fault too. It's a 3 volt battery, not a 4 volt battery. And oh geez, so it was terrible. I'm going to take it apart and put a resistor in to see what's there. So anyway, that's kind of the story. My second dirty secret is I just screwed up the design of this thing, and and I'm running God, I don't even know why the LED is still, hasn't burned out yet. This is just horrible misdesign by failing to take care of that. So anyway, that's about it. Don't let anybody talk you into throwing out your old bottle caps like Scott's, or pieces of foam rubber, or cardboard tubes, or springs, or saw cutoffs, or fabric scraps, or plastic bottles, or old bits of wire, or plastic bags, or because you never know when something might come in handy for something that you're making.
My box hoarding came in handy this week, but I'll talk about that later.
I managed to get rid of the boxes, but I've still got that.
Well, I went to organize my boxes, and I ended up nesting them and yelling at myself over the sickness that I have. And I don't know where this comes from or why I have it, but someone needed to move, and it was very handy to have a stash of boxes. So
that's the real problem, is it's intermittent positive reinforcement. You got this junk, and then every, once a year, you pull out some bit of magic that completely takes care of whatever the problem of the moment is. And then, even your wife can't yell at you for all the crap you keep because you saved the day with, a box or a bottle cap or a whatever.
That's what we think. It's wife or husband, and that's what we think, but they can still yell at us.
Actually,
Jim, you can stop sharing your screen.
no, I've got she's my greatest enabler. She says that I see value in everything, and that is the honest truth.
Well, one thing my wife is starting to do is she's got on this kick to throw out one item a day. Just one.
Is it hers or yours?
Well, I mean, hers, yeah. I've kind of,
I could get on board with that. I have so
Just
much
one.
crap.
Pick out something,
Yeah.
But I got a quick question for you, Jim. On that, I've never worked with UV resin before. Is that kind of soft, or is that pliable, or is it rock hard, or?
It comes out originally sort of the consistency of honey. It's
Okay.
just, a thick resiny stuff. And then so here's, this is
Oh, and it's one part, not two part?
No, yeah, it's one part. So the cure,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's not like that. So it doesn't matter. The pot time is, long. Obviously the bottle is black and, opaque.
Makes sense.
But then you just expose it with UV light. And I don't know if it's here.
How long does it take to set up once you hit it with the light?
Seconds.
Is it safe? I mean, is the UV light safe? Is the whole thing safe?
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, UV light. You got to be a little careful with UV light as far as staring.
All right, hold that thought, Tom. What do you think about a group buy?
This isn't the.
I'm in.
Oh well, the UV, the stuff. I mean, this bottle was, I don't know, $10 or something, from China. And
Jim, you also said that you glued it and then took it apart and did it again. How do you unglue it? When you said you missed a spot and you put it back in? You took it apart.
Yeah. Well, at that point, it was just, I had the whole
Wasn't fully
thing in my
set?
hand. And so I just, blobbed some more of the resin on it, put it back down in the mirror, and shone the light on it again, and and exposed it. It's just kind of layered up. You don't like my answer. What can
No,
I
I talked over the first part, so I'm not sure I got it.
So the problem was that
Can you unglue it?
I didn't unglue.
You just added
Yeah, the thing was stuck down to the mirror, which was the form, the bottom of the form. So the resin was stuck to the plastic disc around the magnet, and then the whole thing was splopped down on the mirror frame. And then I exposed it through the plastic, and then picked it off, and there was a hole. So I just poured a little more resin in that, stuck it down to mirror the form again and exposed it. So the stuff is pretty cool. Dentists use it all the time. You know, that's kind of where this technology, you know, first became commercial. But you can buy the stuff. It's often used for fishing ties. It sort of works as an adhesive, but it's limited that way because you can't put it between opaque things because you can't get the light in to cure it. But,
Gotcha.
but man, the stuff cures just in seconds, or tens of seconds at the very worst. So it's really cool stuff.
Thanks.
So what have you used it for other than this project?
Well, if you'd like to take a look, there are blops of this stuff holding down the copper bus bars on the solar cell receiver for the laser project. That's
Oh, really?
how I held the copper bars down. Just laid the bars down, blooped out a little bit of this stuff and shone the light on it, and poof, it's done. And just kind of free form filler for something. I've used it a couple of times. And so I stock it. This is my second bottle. There was a commercial product called Bondic, I think. Came in there was a little squirt tube, and it had a UV LED and a 2032 in the cap of this thing, and you would shine it on it. And I bought a set of that stuff for my wife for, you know, one of her attorney bosses, and it was okay. And then I found that wow, this is pretty cool, and you can just buy it. It's just UV cure resin.
My pre-COVID, my mother-in-law had actually for Christmas bought me this like epoxy putty. It was like actually like a tube, and it actually had two different types of material. And what you would do is you'd break it off, mix it up, and then it would set after a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, could do a whole episode on just epoxy. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I'm a two-part man, but I'm about ready to change. Upgrade to the UV, 21st century. All the cool kids are using it.
Well, it's pretty good stuff for those cases for which it's good stuff. I use 5-minute epoxy 10 times as much as I use UV. So I'm with you on the two-part, Scott.
All right, Scott, are you ready to go next?
I can. So can you see
Your
my?
bottle caps.
Yeah. Well. Oh. I'm sorry. My bottle cap collection. This is just the water bottle caps.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, beer bottle cap got in there. Anyway, so no.
Should we ask how many bottle cap collections there are?
How many types of bottle caps there are?
Yeah, you said that was the bottle top. You know,
I have tens of thousands of beer bottle caps.
No,
But
no,
that's another project unto itself.
yeah, we know about that.
That's a very special flavor of illness. So, in making this full screen, I got rid of my Zoom window. Hold on. And I will share. So I have to share with everyone a journey. And it's a journey with ups and downs and, you know, mistakes. So interestingly, okay. You all can see my screen.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope,
No.
there you go.
All right. So I used to have this little old laptop in my workshop, and it was ready for Windows 2000, and it was it ran Puppy Linux, and it was on Samba, and it was on my network, and I could play music in the shop, and that was the whole point of this laptop that is on the cabinet. And I will also, I think I've mentioned before, I will point out again that the hallmark of most of my projects is scrap plywood and drywall screws, which are holding this thing up. I love this little computer. It was, I don't know, Celeron 600 megahertz, maxed out at 132 mega RAM. Anyway, and I ran Puppy Linux on there for a long time as a media machine. And one day, she just gave up the ghost and the memory wasn't responding. So I thought I would, with nothing left to lose, I would try and fix it, and that would involve swapping out a lot of old memory from other old laptops that was questionable, and then trying to solder reflow the header for the memory chips. Unfortunately, I at one point didn't realize that it was plugged in and running while I was soldering to it, and I think that was what really did her in. And she is just, freaking done. She doesn't post. It's over. It's over. There's a beloved member of the club, Ray, who I owe the batteries from this laptop to. So what am I left with? I'm left with an empty cabinet. So what you see here is my old Bluetooth adapter and my Boston Acoustics speakers from PCs of long ago. And I would use my cell phone to stream music, but that was not ideal. Like when I'm in the shop, I like to take pictures. I have to answer calls. I like to play music, and I don't have my entire music library on my phone. I have it on a server that has a Windows file share, which is Samba compatible. Here's a bit of foreshadowing. Does everyone see this empty cabinet? Does everyone see this collection of drill bits next to the empty cabinet? This is going to be pivotal later. Okay. Y'all with me? I think some of you see where I'm going.
Yes.
So I thought, well, my gosh, nothing goes to waste in, no part of the buffalo goes to waste in my teepee. I have my wife's last two iPads, and this iPad 2 I thought would be a great media machine. So I did one night, I hooked it up, and I was running VLC, and I was able to connect my Samba shares over the network. And I thought, this is a great replacement for a 600 megahertz puppy laptop. And so I spent the better part of an afternoon 3D modeling the iPad, which I really enjoy doing in OpenSCAD. And I designed this holder that I could mount to the same cabinet, and I would get much of the functionality that I really loved back. So when I printed it, this is me printing in a great big hurry with 0.35 millimeter layers. 0.35 or 0.035? 0.35. And natural PETG, which prints very hot. And I print this, and you can see that it's printing with a sort of scoliosis. It's a little bent, and that's due to the differences in the shape of the object as it's printing with height. And PETG prints at, I don't know, 240, 250 degrees Celsius. And so these warping issues can occur for these thin, tall, skinny objects. And so, it printed all right, but it was bent, very bent, very bent. I tried to use a heat gun to flatten this out, but with a plastic temperature of in the 200 degrees Celsius range, that wasn't, I couldn't get enough of it heated. I also, because I printed it in such thick layers, that posed other problems. So when I took the iPad and I tried to slide it into the frame, it cracked. You could see a crack here. And when I, there's more of the crack. And then when I held it up against the cabinet, it cracked all the way across. It cracked into two pieces. Well, there it is, the full crack across.
The 3D printed object cracked.
The 3D printed object cracked along a line of, along a layer of the 3D print. And if I were to ascribe a reason for this, I was printing fast. I was printing with thick layers, so they didn't have real good layer bonding. And with PETG, it really, this natural color filament is more, how do I want to say, it's more decorative than functional. I find the black filament and the clear blue, magenta, and green have better layer adhesion properties than I've experienced with the white. But I really I don't have enough data to really implicate the particular brand or filament more than the layer thickness. And if you're printing fast and you're printing with really tall layers, you have to think that through and think, well, the molten plastic and the hot end doesn't have a lot of time over every point to sort of bond the new layer to the old layer. So I think I had weak layer bonding. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I see 2 holes in the top piece, and the bottom piece is probably enough that the iPad still won't fall out. So why don't I just drill holes in the bottom piece and screw it to the cabinet, call it done? Well, so I tried that, but when I went to get the screw out of the neighboring cabinet that I showed you a while ago, this screw bit fell out of my hand, landed on the iPad, and broke the screen, as you see. And this, not only is this broken, but it's broken all the way over here. And so I destroyed all the pieces of plastic that were on my bench, and then I posted a post to Slack to my friends saying that I cannot convey to you the level of frustration I'm experiencing right now, along with all these pictures, which was a little sad, but not all was not lost, because I'm going back one. If you look, these breaks in the glass screen are all in the bezel that are off of the display area of this old iPad 2. So while I've kept this iPad pristine for years in my nightstand next to my bed and used it for YouTube viewing at night, I'm very sad that I managed to break the screen in the final moments before it lived in my garage. It's not doomed. So I decided to 3D print it again using black inland PLA. And I will say, for as much as I advocate for PETG, which is a really good structural material for 3D printing, especially if you're going to try and put threads in it or make mechanical pieces, because it has a very low coefficient of thermal expansion. It doesn't shrink much and curl, and it has its own problems, but it doesn't have the problems that you normally find with PLA and especially ABS. This is PLA, and it's printing beautifully. And you could see that it's printing beautifully. I've got a little brim on the bottom, and it's printing straight up. So it did not have the same curl problem as the PETG did. These are 0.2 millimeter layers and printed at a normal print rate, not fast. So I just want to show this picture off. I love when I can get both of my 3D printers printing at the same time. The other printer is printing a little water dish for the tarantula tank here, but that's really not germane to this story. So it printed successfully, and many of my friends on Slack with Workshop 88 were waiting with in suspense to see how this turned out. And it fit the iPad perfectly. And oh, there it is, powered on. And I was able to mount it to the cabinet without issue, level and straight, mount the iPad, and wire it up, access my music collection. And here you can see just how happy I am. And all of the cracks on the iPad are occluded in the frame in the corner. So now I do have access to my full music library in the shop. And I'm very happy with this project.
Yay.
Have you ever tried, I was thinking about that. You printed it vertically. If you would have printed it flat, can you put like a pause in the print that maybe when it's getting ready to go, you'd normally have overhang, that you could have put something like sacrificial in there that would have printed on top of that?
I'm going back here in the pictures. In this orientation, and remember, I designed this from scratch in OpenSCAD. In this orientation, it required no support material.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I mean,
so if I printed it on its back, it would require support material under these face
What
holders.
what I was thinking though, just with the nature of that print, if you could put a pause right before it would go overhang and put something in there that you could slide out, maybe like a piece of Teflon or something like that. I wonder if that would print over that to where, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I could have printed with overhangs. I mean, if I printed with overhangs, they would be inside and I would remove them and no one would actually, they wouldn't detract from the surface finish that people would see.
But if you would have printed it with overhang, you'd have to carve it out. What I'm saying is, if you could have put a pause in the G code before the overhang, like one line before the overhang layer, put something in there temporary that would be like an artificial support that you could yank out after the print is done.
Yeah.
So wait, Tom, am I understanding what you're suggesting is, instead of Scott doing this in like one step, he should do it in 2 or 3 steps. Is that what
Yeah.
I'm?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but the benefit that would have been was I don't know if you would have had the distortion issues that you would have had printing it straight up vertical with PETG. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, with the PETG. I see.
You know, honestly, with PETG, I wouldn't have expected those anyway. I really think that with the fast printing and the thick layers, that's really what got me. If I'd have printed the PETG in 0.2 millimeter at normal print speeds, I think that I would have gotten the heat penetration I needed to have the right shaped object. So, and honestly, I don't really fully understand. I'm just theorizing what went wrong there, but I only have the one data point, and while I was dealing with the model that I printed over several hours breaking, and then I dropped the drill bit on the blankety blank iPad that I was trying to mount in the first place. I think at that point I was pretty much done theorizing about, I was done doing root cause analysis.
But you did a really, really good job of aiming the drill bit not in the middle of the screen. I thought that was great.
You know, the lesson there, and I feel this way too. I have broken my phone in my garage trying to take a picture of a 3D print. I went to pull it out of a pocket and it dropped it on the floor, and it's concrete. There's foam like 1 foot away, but it doesn't matter. Like, a phone is a delicate thing, an iPad is a delicate thing, or a tablet of any kind. And I had it in an environment with a lot of hard surfaces. So I honestly, I blame myself. I should not have had a delicate item, an item that is brittle, that can easily be broken, and especially that is expensive, near hard surfaces, hard items. And honestly, there's another sort of analogy here. End mills are not cheap. They're not overwhelmingly expensive, but they're not cheap. And with my CNC machine that I made, when you change a bit in the mill, as soon as you loosen the collet, it falls right out. And I've had them fall on the concrete floor before. So I actually now have a plastic lid that I put under the collet and a foam pad that's to catch my bits so they don't fall and chip. If they reach the concrete, they're done for. They're chipped. So anyway, and in this picture, I'll show that in the front is my orange and black Prusa i3 MK2. It's not the newest printer, but it is absolutely a stalwart. I love it. I recommend Prusa for anyone who's really serious about 3D printing, who doesn't want to spend, $2-3 grand. And in the back is a Prusa clone based on Tom Sandler's Dolly videos when he was doing that. And it's completely made with Chinese parts, and the frame, the white frame that you can see here and underneath the bed, this was all made from a Korean countertop that used to be in my bathroom sink. The whole point in making this second printer, before I even received the Prusa, was to make a dual head printer. So if I had a dual head printer, getting back to Tom, I have HIPS, HIPS filament, and what I need, I could have had soluble support material And you're right, that would have made this job a little easier too.
So what is the name of that second printer?
Sam Bell.
There you go.
Sam Bell. It's an ode to one of my favorite movies. So
Was that Moon?
Moon with Duncan Jones. Who was the director, producer? I can't remember. What's his name's kid? David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones.
But Sam
Anyway,
Bell Sam Bell was played by
Sam Rockwell.
yeah,
Another one of my favorite actors. So
who was also in Galaxy Quest, which is one of my favorite movies.
wow, that poor guy. It's a miracle he survived the whole thing. Honest to God, Galaxy Quest was a great movie too.
Is there air? Do you know if there's air? Sounds okay to me. Seems okay.
I forgot he was in that. Oh, that's great. So anyway, that was my story of a journey that wasn't completely beautiful, but still got to the end result and achieved success.
Hey, maybe when this COVID thing is all over, we can deck out the main room of Workshop 88 as the bridge of the Star Trek Enterprise, huh?
Or whatever it was in Galaxy Quest. That'd be even better.
A Galaxy Quest, yeah, you know. Oh.
So thanks
Cool.
for listening to my trials and tribulations.
I enjoyed it. I actually I know you're not really talking about the you were talking about the 3D printing, but the and I have a question about that, or a comment maybe, but I know this is like a second generation iPad or whatever, but do you have to have the I assume you don't have to have the power or whatever it is, the data connection on the bottom connected. You just need the speaker wire. Can you still open the cabinet is what I'm trying to ask, basically, while it's in use?
Thanks to the miracle of modern clothespins, yes. So I use clothespins to hold the wires out of the way. The cabinet opens, all the wires move over to the edge. And when I say all the wires, I mean power and power and headphones just kind of move over to the edge. I don't know, let me see if I've got that. I've got that picture, I think. I know I'm not sharing it just yet, so let me get to it.
So while you're pulling that up, my question / comment about the printing orientation was actually I was reminded over the break. I can't even remember why I was doing this over the holidays. I was contemplating printing a guitar holder. So yeah, I see that thing. So
around the side of the cabinet on the bottom is a clothespin where the wires are held, and they're held loosely, so nothing binds. But when the cabinet opens, there's just a little bit of slack, and it's all good.
Nice, very very cool. So when I was looking for a guitar holder for the wall, so this would be a sort of like a hook that you could hook your guitar onto. I was reading through the comments of the most popular designs on Thingiverse, and one of the more popular designs, people commented about how, depending on how you print it, you attach it to the wall, and then you are hanging. These are people who are hanging electric guitars, so they're fairly heavy instruments. Or sometimes a bass, which is even heavier. They talk about how, well, depending on the orientation that you print it, it can there are structural considerations, and the print may separate because of what the forces being applied, the screws in the wall, and then the instrument itself. And so the only thing that I would add to what Tom was kind of saying is, I don't think that the iPad is super heavy, but if you were concerned about that, that would be potentially a reason to choose a different orientation for printing.
No, most of the designs that I do are mechanical in nature. They're not decorative. They're not toys. They're not figures downloaded from Thingiverse. And I give a great deal of thought these days to what the print orientation is for strength, because in the plane of the print, you have a great deal of strength. It's very rare that you're going to break. If the printer is laying down a bead of plastic in a layer, it is very strong. But if the printer is laying down layer upon layer, it's only as strong as it can sort of weld or cement one layer to the next. And that is the failure mode for 3D printing, 9 times out of 10. So I give a lot of thought to that. And I've given a lot of thought to that in a different context in the ice molds. I'm still thinking about how to make clear ice molds that are 3D printable, but the ones that I made, there were some challenges in getting them out of the molds because of the layer lines. And if I can get the layer lines from horizontal to vertical, I'll probably have an easier time getting things out of the molds. But from a strength point of view, you're completely right. And I would not trust the layer adhesion of 3D printing to any instrument that I would want to hang.
Well, fair enough. But I was the instruments that I was trying to hang are fairly small and light and whatever. But anyway, I ultimately decided not to go through with it.
Oh, my son has a collection of basses and guitars, so all electric. So yeah, they weigh a ton.
Yeah. Cool.
Well,
Awesome. Well,
thanks for sharing my journey.
Oh, thank you for for doing that. So that's very cool. So I think that's really actually a pretty good place for us to stop tonight. You guys good with that? Anybody, did we miss anything that I should be aware of?
No, I think that's good.
All right, cool. Well, thank you once again, all of our viewers who tune in and watch till the end. And please, if you haven't already, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, find us on Twitter, do all the things, ring all the bells, and tell all your friends. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much.